Holy shit, I'm actually doing it. Alright. Well, I guess this is my first YouTube video. I don't know how to introduce it, but a little backstory about me. I have grown a love, not an extreme love, but a very powerful love towards film and filmmaking lately over the past couple of years, and I gotta say, it's something I feel strongly about. A lot of people over time, they grow up and they go to the movies with their parents or they go to the movies with their friends. But I feel like, as for me, there was always some sort of like hidden fascination that I had with them. I don't know really when it started, but it sort of stems from my dad, who when Spider-Man came out and X-Men came out, he really got me into it. With the old cartoons, and then when the movies came out, they were just awesome. So ever since then, there was always just this thing that I loved about watching movies, and I guess this could be my first review. I'm gonna be stammering a lot for reasons, you know. But anyway, so I guess I'll be talking about actually, no, I shouldn't say it's a review. It's a discussion. This video will be a discussion about the new Halloween movie, which comes out this Friday. Now, I love the first Halloween. I even love the sequels, including Season of the Witch, which I saw once. But there was something about it that I found interesting, of just this organization that wanted some sort of fulfillment, or this, what's the word for it? This sort of accomplishment that they needed to like a ritual, like of course that's what it was, obviously, and that's what I found so great about it. It was just, I heard about the anthology that John Carpenter wanted to make, and I've grown to like really new ideas or original ideas, especially anthology series. Like, of course, American Horror Story is a great example. It's a perfect anthology series with connecting points such as like characters, reoccurring actors that do different roles, i.e. like Evan Peters, who's great in pretty much all of the seasons, and even some of his in some of his roles out of AHS. But Halloween for me was my introduction to slasher films and horror movies, and Michael Myers was like my go-to guy. There's just something about him. I think it's the simplicity of it, or the simplicity of his character and his design and everything about him that just really draws people in. For comparison's sake, Cthulhu, if you don't know what Cthulhu is, it's a H.P. Lovecraft creation, a story character, a monster. And he's just basically a humanoid demon octopus. And I know this sounds outrageous, but if you don't know who or what H.P. Lovecraft is, I highly suggest that you either read or find out something about him in his stories. But just something about the Cthulhu that really draws me in, other than Azathoth and Shub-Niggurath and all the other monsters that H.P. Lovecraft created. So anyway, back to Halloween. My concerns with Halloween 2018 is, I know that it's a canon sequel, and it pretty much wipes out every other movie that came after the first Halloween in 1978. Yeah, so 1978 directly 40 years after, sorry. And I'm just worried that there are going to be things about it that I'm just not going to like. And my main concern is humor. And now, the reason why is every other company, whether it be Warner Brothers, Blumhouse, any other movie production company, they want to copy that Marvel formula of connected universes, which is fine, but it has to work within the context of the characters and the story that people are trying to create. And that's why Marvel does it so well. So going back to the humor, I heard somewhere in a review that the humor in Halloween, or that there is humor in Halloween, and I'm worried because there's a lot of movies nowadays that try to do that, and it just doesn't stick well, and it really takes me out of the movie. For example, Thor Ragnarok, I get that they were trying to do a comedy and they were trying to mix things up with Thor, but character choices and characteristics of certain characters, they just didn't really mesh well. Obviously, Thor himself is supposed to be a very self-aware, at least when it comes to writers, they're supposed to make it a self-aware character. Like, Thor is this Norse mythological god or demigod, and he throws a hammer around and he controls thunder. That's outrageous. But in the context of Thor Ragnarok, there was a joke that they made in the movie where Hela is confronting Asgard, and this is supposed to be her big moment where they show her power. But they make her crack a joke, and I'm like, why would they take not the fact that she's supposed to be part of this movie, but like an actual like mythological dreadful character. They just turn her into some fucking like comedic part to the whole movie. Like, she takes part in the comedy in the movie, and it's like, no, like, you can't do that. It just, I like Taika Waititi, and I saw The Wilder People, I think, with Sam Neill and that fat kid from Deadpool, and I liked it. It was very dry humor a lot of the times, but there was a lot of comedy that, like, you know, made me laugh, and I got it. And that's why it's so important to really be self-aware of what kind of film you're making, and the characters that, and the choices that you make with the characters. Because if you make every character a comedic character, then it really doesn't resonate. There's something about it that really doesn't resonate with most people, obviously me, and it just doesn't seem right. So anyway, I heard about the humor, or that there is humor in Halloween, and I'm very concerned because I really love Halloween, both the movie and the holiday. Why would the director or the writer or anybody want to make that sort of thing? Like, I haven't seen it, so obviously this is just a big like speculation of mine, and if it does come out and I see it and I do eventually respond to this, or make a review or whatever, I really hope it doesn't sour my taste for the movie. And, you know, there's obviously a whole bunch of advertising saying, oh, this isn't just the best horror movie, it's the best movie ever, like, in general. And it's very concerning because I think Blumhouse is producing it, and Blumhouse has had a pretty good track record. But like I said, every other production company besides like Disney, Marvel is getting influence from those sorts of things, and humor is a big thing. Like, just be, if you're making a horror movie, you can add humor, but make sure that it makes sense within the context of the scene or the movie. And I hope it's not. I'm hoping that in, like, maybe if let's just say Michael Myers is walking into a house, and his thing in like the original series is like no one notices him. I hope they don't make it seem like a character like a side character or a like a fodder character who gets killed off eventually makes a pass at him where he's just standing there and like it's some like half blind lady or man, and they walk by and they don't notice, and it's this awkward shot of just him standing there looking at them, and it comes off comedic, but it doesn't really work because it just doesn't really, it feels forced. I hope that's not the case, and it doesn't put that sour taste in like I don't want to say general audiences, but people who love Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise. It's very worrisome, and I don't mind remakes as long as they're done right and differently. Like Dawn of the Dead, obviously that's like the go-to general movie for how to do a remake. In the 1970s with George Romero's original Dawn of the Dead, all the zombies were walking, like they were very dim, and they just didn't. They were just that classic Romero walking zombie type. And when you watch that movie, the original Dawn of the Dead, there's that self-awareness that really wraps around the whole movie. It's like these dumb, stupid zombies. 4 characters and a couple more characters that come in, and they all just like wreck house, and that's what George Romero was going for. Like that's what he wanted to do. It wasn't just some like sort of, oh well, the producers in the studio want this. Like the producers knew what he was doing, and George Romero knew what he was doing to really gain that money, but like the audience liked it. And then you look at the 2004 remake with Zack Snyder, and that's a good remake. He amped it up. They are running zombies. It's still self-aware of what it's of what it is, and it works. Besides the I guess the precursor to end credit scenes with the island in the middle of the Wisconsin, what is it? I forget the name of the stupid lake that's between Wisconsin and Canada. But other than that, the Dawn of the Dead remake works for what it is. Now, I know this Halloween movie isn't going to be a remake. It's sort of like a reboot, which I'm still sort of concerned with, just because, again, every other company that isn't Disney Marvel or Disney Star Wars is trying to recap or reestablish the old and cash in on nostalgia. But with this, I've seen the trailers. Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm excited to see her back as a different character. She seems strong, which I like. And most of the time nowadays, when you have a female lead, it's always some like overtly like mature, strong character, and they seem like a nuisance instead of a figure to look up to. A great character to compare it to is the OG Ripley from Aliens. Like you don't really know that she's the protagonist until she takes charge and is the reasonable one that the audience puts their shoes into, and they see that, like, okay, this is the character that we're supposed to be following along. But other than that, I don't want to excite myself too much to see this movie, because if it's a massive disappointment, then I really hope that the studio doesn't make as much money to continue with the franchise and learns their lesson in order to not do that and make more. Because then what's the point? Like, I get it. Like, nowadays, attention spans are, like, super slim, and no one really gets movies. They just go to the movies just to go to the movies, and that's fine. I do like stupid films, like I don't want to say Marvel, because they do have some sort of, like, you can tell there's some sort of passion behind it, but like horror movies especially, there's always just like boom, jump scare, boom, jump scare, boom, jump scare, and then that's it. There's really no substance to them. It's just, all right, well, we're just gonna make this movie, a ton of retarded kids will watch it and bring their parents so they can bring more money, or so they can get more money. And then boom, we'll get like $1 million out of this $100,000 movie that we put into. Other than that, I guess my concluding thoughts would be, if Halloween reboot is worth watching, I hope it does well. I hope it does things differently, and it's not just some stupid, like, forced humor-filled reboot just to get people back in the theaters and money in producers' pockets. Original ideas need to be made, and there are, I should put quotations around original, because there's not a lot of original ideas nowadays, just because things are moving so fast. But original ideas need to be put on the big screen in movies or in books or any other type of media for people to consume, because we're in an age where no one really gives a shit. Like, no one wants to be creative, and no one wants to put their ideas out there. And there is I shouldn't say no one, but there's a very select few, a very rare few that really want to do that. And the best example would be Hereditary, and I forget the name of the guy, but I know his first name is Ari. And that's what they should do, is just, Hollywood should put more faith in independent directors who create original films. Hereditary, The Void, which is sort of like an homage to 80s films, but it's its own story. And if there's any other sort of, obviously in any other genre with any other original idea, that's what they need to do. Is Hollywood needs to put more faith in original ideas, because believe it or not, I love original ideas. Other people love original ideas. It's okay, I guess, in some sort of different aspect, to play it safe when it comes to ideas, or putting out rehashed bullshit, I guess. But that's why January movies are always so shitty, and February movies are so shitty. But other than that, like, Hollywood really needs to put more faith in original stories and ideas, and maybe, like, let's just say someone makes a horror movie, but it's like a new slasher, a new idea. If it becomes a hit, there you go. That's that new franchise that people need. And even though it's some Joe Schmo who makes it, it's not Colin Trevorrow, bless his soul, but like, if they're able to make that idea into like a big thing, then kudos for them, and kudos for like the inspiration that the director has created or has given to other people to just not be so fearful of putting out their ideas. Now, remakes and reboots, it's a whole different story, but at least make it different, because obviously the fans are a big part of the demographic. But if you want to introduce new fans while also pleasing old fans, like, just do it up. Like, you just gotta, that's what people need to do. That's what directors need to do. That's what writers need to create. That's what Hollywood needs to produce. And that's it. That's all they have to do. But unfortunately, money is such like a big concern to just these big Hollywood producers that they're really not concerned about the well-being of creators. And that's what not to be too preachy and too philosophical, quote unquote, but that's what the world needs, is more creators, more people to put ideas out into the world that really question, or that really put questions into people's minds about what is and what is not. Anyway, if I ever feel up to it, and whatever, judging by the title, if I'm ever this again, I might talk about it. I might give an official review. It might not be out for a while because I'm fucking broke as hell, and I really hope it's good. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope there's no some sort of nostalgia goggles that I put on myself and I'm just like, oh my god, this was so shit. I'm really hoping that it's some sort of new, revamped, but in a good way, story that they had to tell. And judging by some of the trailers with Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's this different character, and she's just so ready to fucking kill Michael Myers, that it just really, really amps up the story and the love for the original franchise. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the new Halloween, and I guess you can say concerns. But yeah, so I hope you liked it. This is pretty much my review. It went on for 22 minutes, a little more. So yeah, if you think this video is interesting and you have any comments, let me know. This is my first video, so obviously I'm really looking for constructive criticism and your thoughts, and I want to see, and maybe I'll do a video on it, whether or not I am drunk. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Enjoy your evening, day or night, and if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Truman Show. Thank you, and see ya.